So Shabbat Shalom to the Zoomies and the YouTubies and the Roomies. It's very nice to be here with everybody. I'd like to invite us all to take a moment to think back over the week and see what it is that we might be feeling gratitude for this evening, or that might be weighing us down, that maybe we can put aside for a little while. We are going to begin on page 126. And that is, if you have two sets of numbers in your book, it's the blue numbers with the brackets around them. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach outward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. For the blessing over the candles, I'd like to invite Mona Goldberg to the Bima, page 120 and 121.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitchianu b'mitzvotov tzitzianu lehadlak ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, Sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Thank you. We turn now to the Kiddush, page 123, and I'd like to invite Helene Smith to come to the Bima.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who, finding favor with us, sanctify us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you made the holy Shabbat our heritage, as a reminder of the work of creation. At first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat.
If you're able, I invite you to rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lemase bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'chata, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim. B'Shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. You may be seated. Page 128. Maya Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. The Baruch Hu is on page 146 in the blue numbers. I invite you, if you're able, to rise. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach, le'olam va'ed. On page 148, I invite you to read with me in the English. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 150. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה, נגי יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. The Shema is on page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Kevod malchuto leolam va'ed. You may be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Page 157, I invite you to read with me. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 158. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נטע בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקר הים לפני משה. זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha netar b'kodesh, nora tehillah rosefele, nora tehillah rosefele. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Page 160. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 162. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beni uven b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. The tefillah begins on page 164. I invite you, if you're able, to rise. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel chasadim tovim, v'koneh hakol, v'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, u'mevi geula livnei v'neihem, leman shemo be'ahava. Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Vezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia. Mashiv HaRuach Umorid HaGashem. Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed. Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim. Somech Noflim Berofeh Cholim. Umatir Asurim. Umekayem Emunato. Lishenei Afar. Micha Mocha Baal Givurot. Umidom Elav. Melech Memit Umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua B'nemanat HaLachayot HaKol Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kidoshim B'chol Yom Yahalelucha Selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. You may be seated. Page 173. I invite you to read with me. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. Page 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Page 177 is Modim, our blessing of gratitude, and it's our custom to take a few minutes at this time for anybody who wishes to share something that they're feeling grateful for today. So those of you on Zoom, you can put it in the chat if you want to, or you can say it out loud. So Diane Schenker, you have to unmute, Diane.
I am so grateful for a good orthopedic report. I don't need surgery.
That's wonderful news. Modima nachnu lach for that. Who else is grateful for something today? I'm grateful that my daughter Hanalina turned 22 yesterday, and that both of my children are adults now. So exciting and weird. Anybody else? Nathan is grateful that the first week of the semester is over. I bet my daughter is grateful for that too. Charlotte is grateful that she'll see her children and grandchildren this weekend to celebrate her grandson's 31st birthday. Great. And Karen is grateful to have celebrated her daughter's birthday on January 24th, and she's grateful for her children. Irene. Unmute.
Hello, I'm grateful that my cousin Jonathan is going home from the hospital. He went home today. He's been in and out of hospitals, Columbia Presbyterian, Weill Cornell, for almost 3 years now. So I'm
Wow.
grateful that he's home again.
I mean, Patricia.
Yes, I'm grateful that my brother just turned 53 on the 22nd of January.
Oh, wow.
And yes, and Jerome Taylor is doing better with his leg.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Gratitude? Naomi is grateful that she and Ariel are here and that there are people making them feel at home. Awesome. I'm grateful that you're here too. Yes, Ron. Happy anniversary. Ron is grateful for his 20th anniversary with Kareen. And it's so nice to see you. All right. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'el lehodot. Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace is on page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We have come now to our quiet prayer. There are words on pages 180 and 181. If you can see the screen, there are some words on the screen, but we can always use the words that are in our own hearts. We continue quietly. Imrefi vehegion lipi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai v'goali. May the words of our mouths and the meditations in our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. We turn our thoughts now to those among us and those in our hearts who are ill and who are in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. If you are on Zoom and you have names to add to our prayers for healing, you can put them in the chat and everyone will have a chance to add names out loud. We hold in our thoughts and in our hearts for healing this evening Dan Sasher, Ira Weiss, Allison Plummer, Rabbi Dara Lerner, Susan Sisler, Joellen Fox, Alan Fremer, Valerie Pace, George Landberg, Sarah Ratliff, Kenny Schweiger, Leslie Hirsch, Dana Haitkin Nelson, Barbara Weiner, Joan Lifshitz, Ellen Greenberg, Genevieve Lightfoot, Amy Juskowitz Soonseller, Deanna Roth, Jonathan Falkowski, Martha and Ed Vincent, Ingrid Grosso, Audrey Cohen, Eddie DeAngelis, Vicky Lightnaker, Nettie Trommer, Mia Gannon, Jerry Prezioso, Jeff Abel, Monica Beyer, Erwin and Patty Cohen, Deborah Kosman, Jeffrey Schwimmer, Grace Schneider, Liz Yasuda, Mark and Paul Steiner, Celia Karp, Anne-Marie Rogan, Marion Mandel, Sharon Zinn, Nicole Moskowitz, Stephen Belay, Mike Wenzelberg, John Honan, Enid Cole, David Wyckoff, Joseph Mondano Sr., Linda and Howard Simca, Michelle Bracco, Ron Affronti, Rita Clark, Daniel Gerke, Jeremy Briel, Laura Castellano, Karen Vanderhorn, Stephen Rosen, Arlene Ribler. Damian Colin, Jerome Taylor, Ed Robinson, Joanna Marie, Teresa O'Sullivan, Jimmy Jenkins, Chanel Kamabach, Juliette Dale, Maureen Dale, Elena Aram, Warren Feliz, Sylvia Solva, DeAndre Wynn, Jennifer Magoob, Sarah West, Tamia Bethia Williams, Stacy and David Mauser, Hannah Paines, Arlene Kakulis, Judith Weiss, Joan Marie Pandolfo Cortez, who is having knee surgery, Joy Ojan, Merle Paisley, Kintz Gaskin, Harriet Holtzman, Dr. Stephen Jubileerer, Leslie Sedlitz, Ian Levitt, Batya Unger, Marion Munz, Laney and Larry Vinico, Estelle Altork, Zizi Potsdam, Susan and Tony Vi, Laura Cricky, Merle Prop, Naomi Feller, Steve Abramowitz, Susan Abramowitz, Lawrence Piro, Elliot Wolfsey, Pat Flood, Roz Nadell, Cindy Rabinowitz, and Dr. Craig Rosenbaum. Does anyone else have names to add? Mona? We include also all of those who have been wounded in Jerusalem in the terror attack today. We include those who have been wounded in service to our country or Israel, and those who have been hurt in other recent disasters, whether natural disasters, including floods and fires, or human-created disasters, including war and conflict in Ukraine and Afghanistan and so many other parts of the world. Mary Lou?
I also wanted to include Art Torres and Patty McElhaney. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Deanna? Deanna, you're muted. Can you unmute? Deanna, you're still muted. Deanna, can you unmute? Okay, we actually can't hear you, Deanna, but the divine one who is listening can.
I got it. I unmuted.
Ah, you got it.
Yechezkel Hana, right? Bat Dina Yitzchak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can find the Misha Berach on page 371 in the middle of the page. That's in the blue numbers, 371. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirits, and let us say, Amen. Well, Shabbat Shalom again. Today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. And this week on my favorite podcast, a politics and culture discussion called The Promised Podcast out of Tel Aviv, host Noah Ephron shared a story about Jewish books. In the 1930s, the Nazis stole Jewish books from all across Europe, collecting them in order to create a library of Jewish texts that future Nazi scholars could study to prove that all of the Jews deserved to be exterminated. At the end of the war, they had millions of Jewish books. And after the war ended, the books were discovered and cataloged, which was a huge job. They were not cataloged at all. And there was this warehouse in Offenbach that was just full of them. And thousands of the books ended up in the National Library in Israel. And they had a special marking that indicated that they were Otzrot I can't pronounce it because they're here. Otzrot Hagola, treasures of the diaspora. But those special markings that were on each one of these books, those two letters, Aleph Gimel, were not in the card catalogs. And so when all of those books, thousands of them, came to the National Library in Israel, they were just put on the shelves with all the other books in whatever the relevant categories were. And so there was not a record of which books were the ones that came from Germany. Daniel Lipson, a librarian there who was a guest on the podcast this week, learned about these books when he found his own ancestors' bris records in one of them. And so he learned about how these books were scattered throughout the collection, and he set about finding them all. He took the accession ledgers, the records of all of the books that were received by the library from 1949 to 1959, and he started going through them to find the books with the Aleph Gimel, or some of them said Offenbach, 1945. So in the past, people came across them by accident because they were shelved by their content. But because of Daniel Lipson's work, there's now a catalog of about 10,000 volumes of treasures of the diaspora. Lipson has used a Haggadah from the collection for Passover, and he's used other texts that go with other Jewish observances. And as he does so, he thinks about those who would have used these texts in Europe before the war. Here at Bashert, we have our own treasure of the diaspora, although technically it's not called that because it didn't come from that same Nazi source. Rather, we refer to it as a Holocaust Memorial Torah scroll, and many of you will already know about this. It is on long-term loan to us from the Memorial Scrolls Trust in Westminster, England, which received 1,564 scrolls that had been found in an abandoned synagogue in Prague. And so in 1964, they purchased them from the Czech government. The trust restored the scrolls that could be restored and distributed them to synagogues around the world. So we often use the one that we are custodians of for Britot Mitzvah. And I invite the congregation to imagine a youngster in Bohemia or Moravia, which is where our scroll came from, reading that same passage from that same scroll in the 1920s at his bar mitzvah, much as Daniel Lipson uses treasures of the diaspora and imagines their previous owners. Some of you, maybe none of you, some of you knew Werner Friedlander, Zichrono Livracha. Werner was originally from Germany, and he and his family escaped the Holocaust by going to Shanghai. Each family member could take one suitcase. Werner once told me that instead of clothes, he filled his suitcase with books. Once they were in Shanghai, he was able to help support his family by tutoring using the books that he had brought. Jews sometimes call ourselves the people of the book, and books and learning are very important to us. By keeping the treasures of the diaspora in Israel and with our memorial Torah scroll, we can't bring back all of those murdered in the Holocaust. What we can do is remember them and hold on to the history and richness of our tradition that lives in our books and in ourselves when we study them. Our Torah portion this week is Bo. It includes the last 3 plagues: locusts, darkness, and death of the firstborn. And then it takes the time to describe the ritual the Israelites are to observe in the future after this is over, to commemorate Passover. It tells them in the future, you're going to celebrate this holiday, and here's what you're going to do. You're going to eat unleavened bread for a week, and so on. And that might seem odd that this instruction comes here, right at this climactic moment when the Israelites are about to finally leave Egypt. Including the future observance of Passover at this moment, though, points to the importance of ritual to our people. Ritual and books. These are 2 of the most important ways that we carry on our Jewish heritage and tradition. They are combined in Daniel Lipson's using Haggadot and other Jewish books that are treasures of the diaspora, because the Haggadah is the book that we use to perform our Passover rituals. Ritual and books are also combined when we use our memorial Torah scroll at a Brit Mitzvah for the Torah reading. May we treasure our rituals and our books. May we continue to learn and grow as practitioners of Judaism, finding new wisdom in ancient texts and observances. Amen and Shabbat Shalom. We are going to turn now to the Aleinu, beginning on page 586 at the top of the page, and then we will jump to page 591. I invite you, if you're able, to rise. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo Ushemo, Ushemo Echad. You may be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones who have died in the past days or weeks or months or in past years at this time of the year. I am sharing the yard site list for the coming week to the screen, and those of you who are here in person have that same list in your blue bulletin. We remember those who have died in the past year. Harold Shepard Jr., Eva Braxmajer, Madeline Hyatt, Ed Friedman, Ronald Homan, Erwin Bernstein, Shirley Amrani, Harry Goldberg, Lisa Friedman, Eleanor Teplitz, Patricia Christensen, Thea Platt Glasser, Sharon Cooper, William Fritz, Bernard Cohen, Lucy Palazzolo, Blair Ford, Shlomo Nakash, Arlene Scher, Abraham Finkel, Ron Cricky, Mimi Karp, Rochelle Rolnick, Elaine Drucker, Matthew Brunner, Maddie Rosenbaum, Myron Jacobson, Lester Schenker, John Belay, Yefim Polyak, the Reverend Eleanor Lee McGee Street, Arthur Goldstein, Lotta Bloom, Irv Golden, Arthur Derry, Andrew Mazzella, Joyce Braziller, Linda Gilbert Schneider. We also are thinking very much of the 7 Israelis who were shot and murdered outside their synagogue just this Shabbat. We're also thinking of all of those who died in the Holocaust on this International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Included on our yard site list today are Francis Antipole, remembered by Alan Antipole, Harry Berkowitz, Beverly Berkowitz's father, Anna First, Shirley First's mother, Beulah Gass, Mary Lou Cricky's grandmother, Morton Halpern, Laurie Pandolfo's father, Muriel Jaffe, Jerry Jaffe's mother, Rachel Kobitz, Elliot Drucker's grandmother, Fanny Kosman, Deborah Kosman's mother-in-law, Morris Kreitman, Faye Guskin's uncle, Louis Kunofsky, Joyce Kantrowitz's father, Hannah Jessie Mann, Marcia Kaplan Mann's mother-in-law, Anna Nass, Sam Silverman's cousin, Emma Pizer, Lenora Katzman's grandmother, and Frida Zausner, Linda Feller's mother. We include also George Politis, Paul Markowitz, Tyree Nichols, Dr. Philip Pandolfo, and Belle Radum. If anyone else has names to add, I invite you to rise or raise your hand so that I can include you. Ron? I think she was on our list last week. I think so, yeah. They're for the coming week, so that might be through Friday, but I just wanted to let you know that we had her name on the list also last week. Mona? Naomi? Anyone on Zoom? Deanna?
This is last month, my godson, David Haley Goldbrenner.
Thank you. Anyone else? We also include all of those who have died from COVID-19 and those who have died from other causes, whether in war or famine or terror or disaster, or alone and homeless on the streets of our cities. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. I invite you, if you're able, to rise and join in or to participate according to your own custom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to the bereaved here among us and wherever they may be. And let us say, amen. You may be seated. Oseh shalom, shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael amen. A few announcements before we conclude. You will have noticed that our cantorial soloist, Noni Schuster-Donato, and our accompanist, Michael Tornick, are not with us tonight. Everybody's fine. Noni just had another obligation this evening. Thank you to Mona Goldberg and Helene Smith for doing the honors this evening. Tomorrow at 9:45 a.m. is religious school. At 10 o'clock, we'll have B'Yachad on Zoom and in person. And then services are at 11 a.m., also on Zoom and in person. The last Gentle Chair yoga class will be at 4 p.m. on January 30th. You can sign up on Eventbrite. We still have 2 more meetings of religious school visioning. So if anybody is interested in that, there are still slots open. I sent the link to sign up in the links and what's happening email. There's 1 meeting in person and 1 meeting on Zoom. So do sign up if you are interested in both learning about the religious school, but then also imagining what could be better about the religious school. Torah study is on Thursday at 1 p.m. on Zoom with me. Super fun, deep dive into the Torah. We get through maybe 5 to 8 verses a week. We're in Genesis. Israeli dance Thursday at 7:30 p.m. in person. And on Friday, February 3rd, I don't know if this is relevant for anybody who's here, Tot Shabbat is going to start up again at 10:30 a.m. And so tell your people that you know who have children who aren't in school yet, because it starts on Friday at 10:30 a.m. We are going to reinstate a once a month Friday night Torah service. It's going to be on the first Friday of each month, which means next week we're going to have a Torah service as part of our Friday night service. If you are interested in honors, contact Diane Figueroa, who I'm pointing to, although that's weird. There she is. Let's see. Tu B'Shvat celebration, 9:45 a.m. next Saturday, February 4th. This is for the whole congregation, children and adults alike. We're going to have a Tu B'Shvat celebration downstairs in the function room. The Brotherhood Indoor Picnic is coming up fast on February 5th. That will also be in the function room. It's from 3 to 6 p.m., $10 per person at the door. They will provide hot dogs and knishes, and you bring side dishes if you want to, board games, cards, whatever you might want to do for entertainment with other people at the picnic. There's going to be choir practice on Thursday, February 9th at 7 p.m. to prepare for the Saturday, February 11th Shabbat service, which is going to be another one of the services where Noni and Michael come to the Shabbat morning service to do additional music. There's going to be an art virtual tour of the Brooklyn Museum at 1 p.m. on Sunday, February 12th. You can sign up for that on Eventbrite. Women of Beshert at 7:15 p.m. on Tuesday, February 21st are going to host guest speaker Kelly Whitehead, our own beloved Kelly Whitehead, Emily Whitehead's daughter. The topic is going to be her journey to the rabbinate. It says in hour, but I believe it means in-house, meaning it will be in person and on Zoom. That will be worth it for people to attend. Is that for everybody or is it just women? It's everybody is welcome to that, not just women. Yes, it's going to be very good. I saw her senior sermon and it was remarkable. Interfaith Coalition book discussion, 7 p.m. on February 28th on Zoom. And the book is going to be The Netanyahus by Joshua Cohen. Any other announcements? I think that was quite enough. Yes? Yes. Okay. If you're able, I invite you to rise. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. May God lift God's face toward you and give you peace. Amen. And before we go over to the Oneg, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Thank you for coming. Shabbat shalom, Zoomies.
Hi.
Rabbi,
And
thank you for a
YouTubies.
beautiful service.